Well, that'd be right. Graham Cahill's Nissan Patrol's broken down on the way back to Perth after we left the Pinnacles. That leaves us sitting on the side of the road, but we're in luck because before long, Sonny and Grumpy from the Toyota Land Cruiser Club of Western Australia picked us up on the side of the road.
Hey, all right. Mate, can you give us a lift? I've been travelling in a Nissan.
God, how many times have I told you about that?
I know. Can you give us a lift, please?
Yeah, no worries at all. But
I know what you're thinking. I wouldn't be picking me up either, but we got lucky.
Okay, well, you can jump in, but not the driver.
Well, you go and get in that one, mate. Go on. Get out of here.
They're on their way to check out the new Murchison Off-Road Park. And Graham and I are going to go along and have a look too, I reckon.
Am I glad to see you and your Toyota?
Graham doesn't look too keen to hop into that Toyota, does he?
You tell anyone about this?
Come and get into a real car.
Oh man, the humility.
This is a four-wheel drive?
Yeah, right. Oh, this is unbelievable. Here you go, mate, Graham.
Yep. Grumpy, how are you, Graham?
Yeah, grumpy.
Yeah.
That'll suit you.
That's the great thing about Nissans, isn't it? You can leave them anywhere. Nothing ever gets stolen. Murchison Off-Road Adventures is located at Coolkalalaya Station, which is 55 kilometres along the Coolkalalaya Road. Now that puts it about an hour and 3/4 north of Geraldton, or about 5.5 hours from Perth, which is nothing for you Western Australian guys. You drive 6 hours for a beer. The owners at Coolkalalaya, or Murchison Off-Road, are Mal and Bev Lane. They've been here for a couple of years now, and Murchison is still a working cattle station. It was first kicked off in 1890, and these guys have decided to make it the premier four-wheel drive park in Western Australia for all four-wheel drive enthusiasts.
Murchison Off-Road Adventures. How'd you come to be here?
Oh mate, we were just your typical Aussie four-wheel driving family. Used to love getting out and about in the bush or a nice scenic spot on the beach, but with Perth and all the development going on, mate, all our favourite spots were being closed down.
Well, this is lovely. I mean, you've recreated Australia 20 years ago.
Yeah, mate, that was our theme, getting back to the old Australia, relaxing, having a bit of fun, enjoyment with no hassles.
How many acres have you got
Oh, mate, we got 300,000 acres, and I think it's about time we got you out and about and gave you a bit of a tour of the place.
here? Oh, I'd love that, but I haven't got a truck.
Oh, we can sort that out, mate. We've got heaps for you to choose from.
That's dangerous.
No worries.
What have we got here?
You got a feel here. This is just an old chop patrol. Just got done a couple of months ago. All flash, spotlights, winch, all that sort of thing. You'll need that being a Nissan.
Yeah, a bit flash.
A bit flash. This one here, Dad's car. Cops are hammering around the station.
Yeah.
All the bearings and that are a bit rough, but still a bit flash.
Righto.
Yeah, this one here, P-plater driver, need I say more?
Oh, righto.
Yeah, still
Okay.
covered in mud, she goes all right.
Another
Nice
Nissan,
little lift, yeah, Nissan. Well,
Patrol, yeah.
yeah, not much choice between these Nissans.
Right.
Yeah, this one, yeah, she goes all right. She's got a 4-inch lift and 35-inch tyres, so yeah, she goes all right. But yeah, the badge just says it all. Can't really help these patrol drivers. Now, get to the good end.
Oh, what's this?
An old Land Cruiser. This is my vehicle for the station. Yeah, the bull bar is just about to fall off, so that's just optional.
Yep.
You can weld that back on. She's got no brakes, but
Yep.
we don't need that. It's flat country Australia, not many hills.
That's it? Wow.
35-inch bald tyres, goes all right very well on the sand.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You mind? That's my truck. I'm sorry, mate. It's the best one you got here. Good on you, Daniel.
Oh, the old 89 FJ75. Now, here's something I'm used to. A good old Toyota with door opening problems, lack of brakes, bits dropping off it all over the place, just like home. This one's awesome. And it's a petrol. You beauty.
Oh, yes. This is me.
That night we settled down to a campfire and Mal started telling some of his campfire stories.
So Dad, tell us about the old magic beer fridge.
Oh mate, don't keep harping on about that magic beer fridge. You know how many Fruit Loops we've had out here looking for that?
Apparently somewhere out there, there's this beer fridge that's always full of cold beer and they've never found it. Now with 300,000 acres, well I reckon you'd have trouble finding just about anything out there, to be honest. But I'm willing to give it a go. Next morning we woke up early at the shearers' quarters. This is just a beautiful place to stay, it really is. Looking over the Murchison River and it feels like real outback. Now I cobbled up this old beerometer the night before, you know, and I reckon this would be just enough to get the guys out following me around. You know what? I couldn't believe it. They believed me. Sonny drives an 80 series Land Cruiser. It's clocked up 500,000 Ks and he's been all over Australia. It's got lockers both ends and a V8 diesel. Grumpy's travelled all over the place in his 100 series. He's a big-time trip leader with the Toyota Club of Western Australia. It's great to have him along. Mal and his son Daniel are travelling in an 04 Nissan Patrol, basically factory standard but with a 2-inch lift. Don't let them hear this, but they're not a bad thing, are they, from standard? It'll go just about anywhere we need to go. Mate, I'm right at home here. I really am. It's got about 400 million kilometres on it. No brakes, no suspension. Magic, absolutely magic. Got a couple of rattles and a bit of rust, just enough to make a bloke feel at home. And it's a Toyota. I think they just got me here to do a bit of cheap land clearing, to be honest. This whole fridge thing, you know. Sounds good. Oh, it sounds too good not to have a go. I spent half my life trying to find easy money. And all I wanted the money for was to buy cold beer. And somewhere out here there's a fridge full of it. A man's got to have a go for that. Yeah, well, here we are at the Murchison River. It really looks like the barometer's broken, doesn't it? We've taken the boys this far. Can't turn back now. Anyway, too much fun. I want to go exploring the property here. Pretty slippery through here, even with bald tyres. The Murchison is really low at this time of year, but it is prone to flooding like a lot of outback rivers. In 06, it rose all the way up to the shearers' quarters at the station. They reckon that's the once in 100 years flood. I wouldn't like to see that though. It'd be well and truly over the roof down here then.
Roothy must drink too much red wine in the day looking for this bloody fridge. Got those silly things he buys on eBay and he thinks they really work.
Once we've got across the river, which isn't really that hard at all, the barometer takes us over to the time trials track. Now, that could be a bit of an accident, or it could be me wanting to try one of the tracks that I know they use in the West Oz Challenge, which is a real hardcore off-road event in Western Australia.
The barometer says we're pretty close, guys. We're on track, I reckon.
Mal and his family have only explored a fraction of their 300,000 acres. They're always forging new tracks, and right at the moment they're opening up another couple of 100 kilometres worth.
My GPS is going around in circles.
Hey, you got to admit, Graham, this thing rides a whole lot better than your Nissan.
Don't know about that, mate, but I know we're getting damn close to beer o'clock.
Yeah, well, what's the barometer say?
It's not saying much at the moment, mate, but we're pretty much stuck to go this way, so...
Righto, we're going
Let's
this
keep going.
way, mate.
It's pretty gnarly down here, too.
You got daylight saving on beer o'clock here, or what?
We don't. We're running out of light. Let's go.
Following the magic barometer, it didn't take me long to come across the articulation course. Now, I don't know about you, but I can never resist this sort of terrain. I just want to get in there and give it a bit of a go. It's all right for Sonny. He's got lockers at both ends, and with that big V8 diesel, he can pull through almost anything, especially stuff like this. But I noticed too that he's very skilled on the wheel. He's not wasting any effort to put his truck through this course. None at all. I reckon this sort of terrain, it's all about not following the bloke in front of you. It's about looking at the country with a fresh perspective. Look at the high spots, the low spots, the in-between spots. Work it out for yourself. With a bit of understanding for your vehicle, you might find yourself going somewhere slightly different, and that might be the track that works. Barometer's taken us up through the Musterers track, which is one of the tough obstacle courses that features in those major competitions they hold here. Oh, we'll get plenty of four-wheel drive action here. This is a big hole. Wow. You know, you'd crawl through there with lockers, but we haven't got lockers, so we're going to have to use berries. And that's what happens when you don't choose the right track, isn't it? And you've got no lockers. You're hanging a wheel. That didn't work.
Somebody get a nip.
I can hear Graham calling for a Nissan back there. That'd be right.
Aha! Well, there you go, eh? Hey? A bit closer to this side. There's probably another handful of berries.
Yeah, if we'd have found that fridge, we could jack it up with the fridge just there.
No, take the bear up first.
Hey, listen, you reckon we should change this engine mount while it's up here? You can get at it pretty easy now. It looks a bit sad, actually. Look at that. Pretty easy to see what's wrong, what, eh? Good. Two-wheel drive, mate. Anyone who reckons they don't need a diff locker didn't come through this hole.
Now, in a situation like this, grinning, looking like a fool, is about as good as you can do, I reckon.
Just about to say, you know, like if a couple of fat hung off the front of this bar, I reckon we could drive it out of there.
All we need is a couple of
Dan's a bit worried by that front bar, and so he should be too. You all know this, but you never ever snatch off a bar. You snatch off a recovery point on the chassis. If you were to hook up to that bar at the moment, it'd go straight through your back windscreen, a whole lot quicker than a Nissan falling over.
Hey, look at that. See, it's a shifter, a hammer, a pair of pliers. Does just about everything. You can even open this fridge when we find it. Stop laughing, Grumpy. It is there, mate. I know it is.
Yeah, right.
You always got to be careful when you're pulling snatches like this. You could see the way the Toyota shot to one side by almost a metre. That's because there was no real way of putting the snatching vehicle dead in line with the truck. We had to put it off to one side. Just something to take account of when you're snatching, you know. It's not necessarily going to go where you want it to go. It's going to go where the snatch strap's going, where the vehicle in front's going.
How did Jake pull you out?
I kept thinking, gee, Sonny's putting this truck into all sorts of places with a whole lot of ease, and I put it down to just pure driving skill, because he is a very good driver. But that's when I realised that he had diff locks too. So with the big V8 diesel and the poly airbags, a little bit of soft suspension and those diff locks, Sonny's got all sorts of chances that nobody else has got. Look at that. Pretty obvious there, isn't it? He's not fazed by it at all. Good on you, mate. Grumpy comes through much the same path, but he's had the advantage of watching us do it too. And he picks a whole different route, and look at that. Drives it no worries. Little bit of mumbo, but he pulls on through. Beautiful job. Good on you, mate. It's making it look really comfortable too, isn't it? It's the wonderful thing about the old hundreds. They're so comfortable.
Where's my bear, Roothy? Come on, let's get him. For a grumpy old you're a good driver, mate. That was awesome.
Thank you, Roothy. Now, where's my bear?
I was just around the corner, all right?
Yeah,
We're not
right,
far
yeah,
from it now.
We decided to call it a day and camp by one of the dams out the back there. And I thought I'd cook up a bit of a damper for the boys. Graham's a bit of a dab hand on the old didgeridoo, and I like to play the harp. We figured we might see if we could hang something together here for a while.
Oh, well, thanks, Graham. That was awesome. You know, I heard the Didge a lot when I was a kid in the Flinders, and to be honest, this whole day's been really nostalgic, because here at Murchison Off-Road, it really is being like Australia 20 or 30 years ago, you know. Plenty of room, lots of freedom. You can sort of do what you want. No one's sitting on you saying, these are the rules. I loved it. I loved it all day here. Even though we didn't find the magic beer, it was just fantastic. And because it's been such a nostalgic sort of a day, I figured that maybe we should do a damper, but not one of those, you know, pivy-wivy new type dampers that people do that are really much more like bread. We just do an old-fashioned Stockman style Aussie damper, which is dead simple, because at the end of the day, a Stockman's a fairly simple sort of a guy. He didn't have a lot of time to muck around. And so we'll do a traditional Aussie damper, which is basically the only damper I can do. Here we go. It's very simple. just starts out with some flour. Now, we've got self-raising flour, but contrary to what the recipe books say, you can use almost any sort of flour. Self-raising works quite well. To the flour, you need to add a bit of sugar. How much? I don't know. Probably about a tablespoon. That'd be about right for this quantity of flour. And some salt. I like rock salt, I really do. Now just give that a bit of a quick mix. And here's the big difference. You know, all these new age dampers, they've sort of got to be made like bread. Well, that's a bit painful for someone like me. I make it runny. It's so much easier. Just add a heap of milk. You don't have to add milk, milk's optional. You do, however, have to add beer. Here's your excuse to go and buy a carton of beer so you can make some damper. You can do without it. You can do this whole thing with water if you have to. But beer and milk, believe it or not, works quite well. I think I'm going to need some more. Probably need some myself. And a little bit more in the damper. Oh, look at that, it's fizzing up. Get it all nice and liquid. There's a little bit of beating involved in this. For you Western Australian people, translation of the word beating, I think it's tweaking, but I'm not sure. I'm still working. It's tweaking, is it? Thank you. Now, with that all mixed up, take a good old iron pot like this one, and here's the trick, if there is a trick. This is so simple, there really is no trick. You should be getting your kids to do this. It's good practice for them. Some good Aussie butter. I'll bet this is Western Star. It is too. Yeah, beauty. Thanks for that. Give the pot a really good wipe. You want to make sure you wipe a couple of inches up the sides too. That really gets it nice and greasy. And then a bit of flour in the pot itself, okay? It's awesome. I'm going to get rid of that extra flour. Don't watch. There we go. And there's our mix. Looking more beaten than a James Bond movie. And in she goes. No kneading, no mucking around. Spread that around a bit. Oh, lovely. On goes the lid and into the fire. It's that easy.
Yeah, basically the legend of the ghost on the property goes something along the lines of back in the 1950s, 1960s, a young 15-year-old Aboriginal girl was brought out here by two men, and unfortunately she was taken to one of the dams on the other side of the river there, and she was raped and murdered. Ever since that time there's been sightings of this poor unfortunate girl all over the station. The most recent sighting we have is one of our most popular campsite, a place called Shady's Bay. We have an annual event where female Aboriginal elders from all over the state come together for what they call a healing conference. And yeah, they arrived late one evening and were setting up camp. And it was such a beautiful night. It was a new moon, so the moon was about the size of your fist on the horizon. It was lighting up all the ghost gums reflecting off the river, and the leader of the Aboriginal elders decided, oh, a lovely shot of the moon, and camera wouldn't focus for some reason. So she put the camera down onto the ground or pointing down at the ground to look at the face panel on the back, and the camera went off by itself. And when the picture came through and exposed itself on the back, there was the face of the young Aboriginal girl. Yeah, it was quite amazing. Now I know for a fact that that's stinking because my wife and son, Daniel, went down the following morning to make sure everything was okay, and the woman came out and actually showed them a photograph, and they both swear it was as plain as day that there was a girl's face in this picture. But you do go to places on the station and you do get a funny feeling, you know, that something's not quite right, and we don't normally hang around, so.
There you go, dead simple, a stockman's damper. And after a story like that, I reckon we needed something to sweeten us up. Oh, Murchison in the morning is just beautiful. Now, with 300,000 acres to choose from, the park's got all sorts of degrees of difficulty. It's got scenic tracks for the beginner along 25 kilometres of the Murchison River, or it's got extreme tracks with rock climbs and sinking sand, winch challenges and all sorts of obstacles. You know what? The barometer is taking us all over the park, and I'm having a ball because I really don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, I don't know where the hell he thinks he's taking us. He's going to get us lost out here somewhere. We'll all end up white skeletons in the bloody desert.
I'm starting to think this barometer of mine could have a couple of Nissan parts in it somewhere.
Fine, mate. No, we're going to find it for sure. Not a problem.
Which way?
It's really not working well.
That way.
I'm not liking it, mate. I'm not liking it.
Come on, mate.
I'm not liking it.
How good is that, eh?
We're getting some pretty weird readings out of this barometer. I reckon we might need something a bit faster, a bit more nimble to keep up with these sort of readings. Hey, this'll do me. How about a 650cc water-cooled 80 km/h buggy? And they've got quite a few of them back at the homestead. They're available for rent, and by crikey, I'm in. Come on, lads, let's have some fun.
Boy, this helmet's tight. They must have made it to fit a squirrel.
Oh, not again. Roothy's going to find out why they call me Grumpy shortly.
Beer fridge, my fat auntie. Roothy's been in the Queensland sun too long again.
Oh, this is just too much fun, this buggy driving, I'll tell you. Barometer, well, the readings seem to get stronger the closer we get to the homestead.
It's here, guys. I've got a strong signal. No. I'm close.
Who wants a beer, boys? We could have stayed here, mate.
There you go, it worked to beauty. There's plenty of cold beer here, right at the ranch.
There's just one last thing that we need to sort out before we can leave, and that's this Nissan versus Toyota thing. Now, not a problem, you reckon? Fortunately, Mitch has lent Graham his patrol ute. Daniel's lent me that Land Cruiser. We're going to run it through mate versus mate here in the mud.
Yep.
And see which one's better.
No question, guys.
Are you on, mate?
Yeah, I'm on.
You're on?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
May the best truck win.
Oh, we will.
Look, we've had a couple of fantastic days here at Murchison Off-Road Adventure Park. It really has been good. There's some top tracks around here, some awesome off-roading. The scenery's fantastic. I love the Murchison River. This is the way Australia used to be 20 years ago. And if you miss this, you've missed out on a big hunk of our past. It's a wonderful place, it really is. Thanks, mate. I really want to thank Mal and Bev and Dan for putting up with us. It's been a terrific time.
Thanks, John. We've had a pleasure.
Cheers, folks. Cheers.
Cheers. I'd like to present you with this barometer too. No, it works really well, honest. Yeah, we found the beer fridge. Keep it near, it'll work well. Thanks very much, guys.
Treasure it, boys.
And we'll see you here sometime too, eh?
Welcome to Roothy's Ruthless Tales. Go on, grab a slice of fair dinkum, Australia. Get your dose of Roothy and put a smile on your dial.